G'day Bomber fans, well the winning streak has come to an end. It was 4 in a row. We had to host the top of the ladder Kangaroos and we were absolutely belted at Windy Hill. It was a smacking, it was 58-7. It was always going to be tough going up against the best team in the comp. I was anticipating a loss, but it's disappointing to see such a one-sided game. It shows we're a good team, but nowhere near a great team yet. There's lots of work to be done for us to make finals, let alone make a dent, so let's talk about this game. Quarter by quarter recap, the first was brutal. To say we were on the back foot would be an understatement. They were absolutely killing us. That scoreline really doesn't do them any favours, despite it being so one-sided. North were killing us, getting so many chances. 15 inside 50s to 0 in that first quarter. At one stage, it was 8 free kicks to 1, which had the crowd up and about, but the umpires had no impact. We were getting killed anyway. Our backline at least held up. Weirdly, we were a lot better in that second quarter, despite the scoreline blowing out a little bit. It was 41-1 at half-time. I mean, the game is over there. You don't really come back from that far down in this comp. We started getting a lot more of the play on our terms, but just coughing up cheap goals. We were defensively lacking a bit more in D50, but better around the ground. It didn't really matter too much, though, because North were just way too good for us anyway. It was a no contest. The third, I mean, at this stage, you're just thinking about what you can do and how you can bring momentum into next week, and the third was pretty promising. It was a promising quarter in an otherwise deflating day. We stopped them from scoring. We had the ball being moved around pretty nicely at times. The other 3 quarters were obviously horrid for us. We were soundly beaten, but this one we had North working hard. It was a bit of an arm wrestle. We'd evened out a lot of areas. It would be impressive if we managed to maintain it, but we unfortunately didn't. The fourth, look, it was a tale of two halves with this term. We were actually arguably on top early in the quarter. We kicked our first of the day thanks to Bonnie Toogood, her first of the year, in fact. After that, North got a bit of a roll on and kicked a few more goals on us. Probably should have had more. They had about 4 or 5 set shots and missed a few easy ones. Tale of the day, maybe. The siren sounded at the end of the fourth, as it always does. We were the losers, 58-7. Big loss, massive loss. In fact, it was actually our biggest loss in the history of the women's team competition for Essendon, and our lowest score ever too. So not a good day. Let's talk about it. Well, we were playing the best team in the comp. That is not easy. There are some elite teams that have been absolutely smashed by North this year. They're fresh off a 60-point win against Sydney. They smashed the Lions away from home, and they're a very good team. They smashed the Demons by 50, who are only just behind us on the ladder. They are the best defensive and offensive team in the comp, and we found that out the hard way. We couldn't score. 2 scoreless quarters for the game, only 1 goal. And on the flip side, North piled on goals. Even when we were playing good footy, I didn't think we were horrible for the game, but even when we were playing good footy, North were just far too good. I wasn't unhappy about this game like I was with that GWS 120-point loss in the men's comp the other year. This would be like us playing Brisbane last year and losing by a big margin. You kind of expect it. You aren't happy with it, obviously. It's hard to be happy with a massive loss, but it's not something you write angry emails to the club about. Simply put, North are just way too good a team for us right now, and it shows that we're not really a chance to win the flag anytime soon. We might make finals, but we'd be making up the numbers with a few other teams. I thought our midfield was soundly beaten, and that is really the only area you can have a chance against North with. If you get a leg up there, it helps. But unfortunately, Maddie P and Georgia were just not up to it compared to their opponents. I thought they worked hard around the ground, but we were negative 13 for clearances. We had 1 centre clearance for the whole match. We were negative 23 for contested possessions. The inside 50 count was 17-40. That is horrible reading, and that's actually better than what it should have been. We were 0 on at quarter time compared to 15. We have a good midfield, but it wasn't even close in my opinion. Even our disposals, they were rushed, often turnovers. North were waltzing it out of stoppages. I thought Maddie P and Nanscorn were good, but the votes will reflect my views for the game, because that was our best chance to win this match, even out the guts. And we were miles off it. I think we're lacking 1 more star in the midfield in this team, to be honest. Steph Kane is good. I like her. She's a workhorse. She's really selfless, but we need 1 more to roll through and give us better rotations. That would make us a much better team. Yeah, I think we're just a young, decent side going up against a proper powerhouse of the competition. We didn't let ourselves down with our effort. I thought the girls gave it a crack, but there is just a gaping skill differential between us and the best teams. We were hot, but not hot enough. We were defensively sound at times, but not enough to withstand that pressure. North are just far too good a team for that. This is far from my least favourite game of the year, though. The Freo game is probably the one I hated watching the most, or even the Saints game. But yeah, this was a bad, big loss. Not good for the percentage at all. We've fallen a spot on the ladder, I believe, through percentage alone. That is far from ideal. It gives us a bit more work than we ideally need to be doing. 2 games left, no more at Windy Hill for the regular season. That's all done. I'll preview next week's Dreamtime game in a second, but before I do that, we get on to the votes for this game. Okay, so I am going to give them votes for what they did around the ground, even though I thought we lost out in the midfield. Prespakis and Nanscorn get 1 and 2 votes respectively. They were hard at it. Their pressure was good. They got a bit of the ball. So fair play. 3 votes to Brooke Walker, who I thought was good. She was a good presence around the ground as always. She played a fair bit in the midfield, but also just utility around. 4 votes to Amy Gaylor. Her stats don't show it, but I thought she was great, and she has been all year. If I did 7 votes instead of 5, she'd probably have featured a lot more this season. But without a shadow of a doubt, the best on ground yesterday was Maddie Gay. She was absolutely phenomenal. She was brilliant. Could be one of the best on ground, to be honest, on the whole game, despite us losing by 50 points. She improves our defence so much. We're lucky to have her on our list now. Jordan Ridley-esque, I'll say. She's such a good kick. I know people always compare the men and the women's comp, which is silly because they're different sports, but I'm going to do it. Maddie Gay is genuinely a much better kick than a lot of our starting men's players. She is elite by foot and so smooth with her hands too. She kept me interested in that game. To be honest, it was a boring game, but she made it fun just watching her tear up on the back half. The overall tally with 2 games to go looks a little something like this. Maddie P still has the lead, but is not well clear of those behind her. She has 4 more votes than Georgia Nanscorn and Maddie Gay, who was best on ground. Georgia Clark is 4th with 17, and after her there's a logjam. It's Bannister, Wales, Kane, Walker, and Van der Heuvel. They're all within 2 votes of each other, and Amy Gaylor has jumped into the top 10 to round it out with 5 votes in her first season for the club. Still anybody's game. Alright, round 9 preview. Absolutely massive game for us. We are currently 8th on the ladder. A loss would almost ensure we fall out of the 8 this week. There's a slight chance that we lose this and win the week after to still make finals, but I would feel a lot more comfortable with 2 wins to round out the year. In round 10, our final game, we play Carlton. That is a very winnable match, but here we go up against Richmond, who are right now 5th on the ladder. They are quite a good team. They will go into the game as favourites, clearly, and it's going to be a warm one. Everyone will be sweating. This one's up in Darwin, so get this for scheduling. I love the idea of playing a game up in Darwin, especially for Dreamtime. It's fun, but it is pretty much November. It's only a few days off. It'll be an absolute sauna up there. It's supposed to be around 35 degrees and some rain. That is horrible footy weather. That is sit inside the house with the aircon weather. So I don't envy the girls who have to go up and play in those conditions. The Pickle Juice will be working on overtime up there. But yeah, massive game coming up for the club. We win, we probably make finals. We lose, and it all depends on what happens with other teams. I think we probably lose this game, but I'd love to be proven wrong. 2 games left, Richmond and Darwin, Carlton and Icon. Let's see how the girls handle the pressure. Alright, that is that. Round 8 review done. Not ideal, far from it, but we're still in the mix for finals. We got to play some good footy to round out the year, put this loss behind us, and get a couple more wins on the board. Cheers for watching. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and as always, go Bombers.